Good day and a very warm welcome to all our speakers and invited guests who have joined us for today's conference. We will commence shortly. Let's take a moment to watch a short video for today's e-conference, so just sit back and relax. A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to distinguished speakers and guests, conference delegates, academics and students of Taylor's University and University of Kelaniya, attendees who are watching from YouTube Live, ladies and gentlemen, good day to all who have joined us. A warm welcome to BLM2-ICAM4, an international joint e-conference. The theme of this joint conference is broadening the horizons of business, going beyond normal. This year, we had an overwhelming response in paper submission. We received over 1,000 papers from 30 different countries and 5 continents: Africa, Asia, Australia, Europe, and Americas. After a rigorous process, over 400 papers were accepted for the offline and online presentations. My name is Kelly T, a lecturer from the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences at Taylor's University, and I'm pleased to be your MC for today. Before we continue with this session, I would like to highlight the conference event flow. As you can see on screen, we will begin. We are now at the conference opening session and keynote speech, which will end at 2:45. And we will begin our conference parallel sessions from 3 to 4:30 p.m. And at 5 p.m., I'm sure most of us will be very excited, especially the conference presenters. That's where we will have our award ceremony and conference closing. Now, as you can see the QR code on screen, please scan the QR code to capture your attendance for today's conference. Fret not if you feel that you have missed out the conference. You say that, oh, I can't scan, right? So then go ahead and you can see on my left, there's the QR code behind me. So you can just go ahead and scan that and your attendance will be captured. Thank you. Now sit back and enjoy the conference promo video. On behalf of the conference committee, thank you to all 379 offline presenters for your hard work and effort in creating these insightful video presentations. We appreciate your dedication and efforts. To view this insightful sharing from our colleagues, please scan the QR code shown on the screen. Thank you. Now, we would like to present the offline presentations for the Bronze Award. Please visit our website, cvconference.com, to find out if you're the lucky one. If your name is not listed, don't worry, as you may be the lucky winner for the Silver Award, Gold Award, and our special awards. Please stay tuned to the very end of the conference for the announcement of the winners of the Silver Award, Gold Award, and the special awards. To kick off our event this afternoon, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Syed Palavan Sharif, BLM2 Conference Chair from Taylor's University, to deliver his welcome address. Welcome, Associate Professor Dr. Syed.
Distinguished Professor Dr. Raja Rasia, University of Malaya, Dr. Seiko Jabi, First Deputy Governor, Central Bank of the Gambia, Professor Dr. Kong Kokwei, Executive Dean of Faculty of Business and Law, Taylor's University, Dr. PND Fernando, Dean Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelania, Professor Dr. Ravi, Head of Department of Marketing Management, University of Kelania, Mr. William and Miss Rosita, Emerald Publishing Group. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to each and every one of you for being here today with us. It's my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all of you. Today, we are proud to host BLM2-ICAM4 by Taylor's University and University of Kelania virtually with you. Before we get started, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all of you who generously helped us make this event come together to become a success. The presence of more than 35 associate partners, 10 affiliated journals, receiving more than 1,000 submissions, 379 offline presentations, and more than 80 live presentations prove the success of the conference. And they couldn't have done this without you. We have been extremely fortunate in having a wonderful team of dedicated, supportive, and committed academics from all corners of the world. Among them, Conference Beast Group has taken a lead role in ensuring that the whole conference operates to the highest possible standard. Also, I'd like to thank Dr. Akila and her team for their wonderful support and contribution that went substantially beyond the normal call of academic duty. We are, of course, indebted to the team from Taylor's University, University of Kelania, Dr. Ravi, Dr. Renuka and her team, as well as Emerald team, William and G, Dr. Sodir, Dr. Hassam, Paradigm Shifts, and all associate partners, affiliated journals, scientific committee members, moderators, session chairs, and panel members for the excellent work they have put in, and of course, to our keynote speakers for delivering their valuable insights. Finally, we must thank everyone who has contributed to the conference by their offline and online presentations. Each and every participant has made a contribution, and the ethos of the e-conference, designed as a formative event with the purpose of learning from one another, as we hope, made everyone feel at e-home and e-welcome. Well, I don't want to take your time too much. I believe today will be fun and full of learning, like our online classes during the pandemic. So a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. Stay safe and enjoy the event. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the wonderful speech, and also for sharing with us your secret recipe in organizing such a big event. Now we know all this is made possible by having a team named Conference Beast. So everyone take note. So when you want to organize future conferences, so make sure you have you name them Conference Beast and the people in it. So thank you so much, Prof. Dr. Syed Palavan Sharif. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Kong Kok Wei, Executive Dean, Faculty of Business and Law, Taylor's University, to deliver his opening speech. Welcome, Prof. Kong.
Hi, good afternoon. First of all, thank you to the Taylor's team and not forgetting University of Kalinaya and Emerald as well. I understand that this is a second version of the BLM conference. The first conference BLM was held last year, which is in the same mode, which is virtual. And I remember last year when I spoke to Dr. Said, I spoke of having a conference face-to-face, and which is the more traditional form of a conference. But last year, as we know, the pandemic actually hit us, and we were really thinking about calling it off. But thanks to Dr. Said and his innovative team, he came up with the idea of having a virtual conference. And I asked him whether will we even have enough participants to join us, because the point about doing a conference is really about networking fellow academics who would meet up and exchange ideas, and face-to-face physical interaction is a very important component in a conference. So last year when we did the e-conference, it was a really successful event. And this year I spoke to Dr. Said. I said, look, can we do this again? And he said, sure, let's do it. And this time we have more partners, and I understand that there are 35 over affiliate partners and universities with the support of Emerald. And now we even have a co-partner and co-organizer in the University of Kalinaya. So it's a very fantastic occasion. And in fact, we have doubled the number of submissions. I heard there are 700 over submissions, and more than 10 journal partners in this event as well. So the team has worked tremendously hard to make this happen. And I can't imagine how we can up the ante for next year. Said, maybe you have 3,000 participants. It's really a momentous occasion, and I have to really congratulate the team for making this happen. And the team is amazing. I mean, it surprisingly made this such a big event. And to me, all these participants having joined us, and they're from many parts of the world, it is a crucial event where we can carry this idea and bring it on to the next stage. And of course, not forgetting, I understand that there are many participants who are PhD students as well, and early career researchers. We can use this as a platform to form engaging activities and even networks for future collaborations. So with that, I would like to hand this over to Kelly. I was surprised to see Kelly here as the host, but I'm actually really happy to have her emceeing this event. Thank you very much, Dr. Said and team.
Thank you, Professor Kong. Thank you so much. All right, now let's move on to the next welcome address. So now I'd like to invite Dr. PND Fernando, Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya, to deliver his welcome speech. Welcome, Dr. Fernando.
Thank you very much. And warm greetings from Sri Lanka, Professor Said and Professor Hera, chairs of BLM2 and ICAM4, Professor Kongwei, the Executive Dean, Faculty of Business and Law, Taylor's University, Malaysia, Professor Ravi Disanayake, Head of the Department of Marketing Management, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, and respected scholars, and my dear ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to address you all in this International Joint Research Conference, BLM2 and ICAM4 2021, organized by Department of Marketing Management, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, and Taylor's University, Malaysia. So this time we came up with the theme of broadening the horizons of business, going beyond normal. So actually, rather than going individually, so when we are together, so we know that synergy effects will definitely flourish the requirements of academic community. So that is why, as a National University in Sri Lanka, we joined hand with Taylor's University. So we appreciate, so you are joining all the gentlemen and academicians from Taylor's University. And in this pandemic situation, entrepreneurs and industries are reconsidering its recent history and its future directions. So we know that exponential growth in digitization of education, the healthcare, the entertainment, that may be transport systems and road networks. So we'll create new business models with demonetization as well as dematerialization. The issue we are having that will our business organization survive this storm of disruptive innovations? That is one of the major problem, major issue. So we are facing. Are they ready to embrace the opportunities in this new normal situation? So with all these changes, we are having the same questions again and again. Are we ready to embrace these opportunities? So that is why we need to update ourselves quickly, update ourselves, going with the world, going with the blue. Today we can visualize the readiness of academicians as well as industry practitioners, professionals for these challenges in this joint international conference. So this creating this platform for this joint conference to this level and passion is not an easy task. As one of the leading management faculties in Sri Lanka, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya, highly endorse the quality research for the development of economy. So we have included compulsory research components starting from undergraduate level in our whole curriculum to inculcate the research culture among graduates. So I wanted to thank Professor Renuka Hera and Professor Ravi Disanayak especially, and the entire team, including the members from Taylor's University, for organizing this conference into this level with all social distancing regulations and limitations. So finally, as the Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya, I wanted to thank all the presenters and academics for their participation in this joint international conference. So the day will be fruitful to all of us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Dr. DMR Disanayak. Dr. PND Fernando. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to invite Prof. Dr. DMR Disanayak, Head Department of Marketing Management, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya, to deliver his welcome address. Welcome, Professor Dr. Disanayak.
Hi everyone, greetings from the Department of Marketing Management, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka. And there's always a happening dialogue. How to bridge knowledge into practice. The universities like University of Kelaniya and this well-renowned university like Malaysia, Taylor's University, we all are in the endeavor of creating knowledge and the disseminating knowledge. However, still all around the world, we have one dialogue, one argument, how industry accepts what we brand as new knowledge. Welcome to this conference, ICAM4 and the BLM2, Professor Said and Dr. Korn from Taylor's University of Malaysia, Dr. Nardo Fernando, Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya. In fact, I believe my Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Nancy Silva, she's watching this through our digital platforms, and all the research participants, mainly our two leaders from the two universities, Professor Said and Professor Renuka, and Conference Secretary from ICAM, Mr. Saumya. You have done a remarkable teamwork exactly in line with our theme. So we are having a theme to educate the rest of the world through our research endeavors, broadening the horizon of business, going beyond normal. Actually, at the outset, we ourselves proved that. We ourselves created new horizon, rather work alone working together, it creates a synergy. I strongly believe everyone talks about the negatives of COVID, but there are many things out of the COVID as positives. These are the positives we should take as responsible universities, responsible academic institutions in the world to create a community with a research impact, search new opportunities even out of the challenges. In fact, Taylor's University is not a strange place to me. I'm very happy to say I did my PhD at Taylor's University. I know the culture of Taylor's University. It's a wonderful place. And with the timely driven leadership of Dr. Narada Fernando for our faculty is not a conventional faculty in Sri Lanka. In fact, Department of Marketing Management is the trend-setting marketing education center within the Sri Lankan marketing faculty. We are not book-driven always. We are driven with always new, no matter from where the new thing comes. In fact, because I'm a blend of the two cultures of University of Kelaniya and University of Taylor's, I know this is the chemistry matching between our two great institutes. We all are very open for the new things. We are very simple, but still we maintain our protocols. I believe my faculty, International Conference on Advanced Marketing, is one of our priorities in our teaching faculty. Department of Marketing Management, we have well-renowned teaching faculty blended with industry practice and the academic excellences. Most of our lecturers are industry practitioners in terms of consultants. We never forget the priority for the research. Our department, we have 2 international conferences, that for student perspective, and this is for our international academic perspective. So I have witnessed so far receiving 1,000+ submissions to this ICAM4 and BLM2 itself proved what the impact we have made to the rest of the world, even more than 30+ countries to believe this has one of the wonderful platform for them to, brand their new knowledge and get the right feedback for what they have done as academic piece of work. So finally, I would like to extend the all good wishes to BLM2-ICAM4 as the department head of the University of Kelaniya Marketing Department, and especially highlight the simplicity and of course the dedication what Dr. Said led to this program with his very dynamic team. I personally know him. I can guess how his team would work for us in future as well. And let me once again give my good regards to Dr. Narada, being always a supportive hand for our new things, because we always believe going beyond normal. Now actually we have come to a level, normal is new. The new is normal. The normal is new. So we all take these things as a normal journey. And of course, it's within the noble journey of research. So thank you very much, all the well-wishers who did contribute specifically for submitting their academic piece of works, research works to our BLM2-ICAM4 conference. I'm having no doubt the rest of the time ahead will be one of the impactful research time for all the participants. Let's make BLM, ICAM, maybe BLM3, ICAM5 next year with new highlights and new impacts. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you so much, Prof. Dr. DMR Dissanayake. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will proceed with the keynote session. We are incredibly grateful and thankful to have 2 prolific speakers to share their profound knowledge with us. We are pleased to have distinguished Professor Dato Dr. Raja Rasya, Distinguished Professor of Economics at the Asia-Europe Institute, University of Malaya, here today to share with us. Raja Rasya is Distinguished Professor of Economics at the Asia-Europe Institute, University of Malaya. He obtained his doctorate in economics from Cambridge University in 1992 and was a Rajawali Fellow at the Ash Center for Innovation and Democratic Governance, Harvard University in 2014. Among his external positions include professorial fellow positions at UNU Merit Technology Management and Center for Development at Oxford University, Center for Rising Powers, Cambridge University, Muhammad Ali Jinnah University, and University Tenaga Nasional. He is also a fellow of the Academy of Science, Malaysia, member of the Advisory Board of Research Projects at Ministry of Higher Education, Malaysia, and Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, MOSTI, Malaysia. He served as the Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Administration at University Malaya in 2009 to 2010, and in 2013 to 2014, he was one of the principal authors of UNIDO's 2009 flagship report and one of the editors of the 2015 UNESCO Science Report and contributors to UNESCO Science Report 2021. He is the 2014 recipient of the Celso Furtado Prize from the World Academy of Sciences for advancing the frontiers of social science thought. In light of his scholastic contributions, Malaysia's Ministry of Higher Education conferred him the award of Distinguished Professor in Economics in 2017. He was awarded the Merdeka Prize for Scholastic Excellence in 2018 and conferred the title Datuk Paduka Mahkota Perak in 2019. Please join me in welcoming Distinguished Professor Dr. Raja Rasya. Welcome, Distinguished Professor Dr. Raja Rasya.
Thank you very much. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Kok. I think his screen is no longer here. Of course, Professor Dr. Narada Fernando, Professor Ravi Dasanayake, and of course, Professor Said Pahlawan Sharif for inviting me. And of course, the others who've been working in the background to get me on here, like say, Malan, I think I saw her there just now. And of course, Dr. Nawas Nagawi. And then of course, I would like to also take this opportunity to thank the top managements of both Taylor's University as well as Kalanaya University. It's interesting because it's been a while since I went to Colombo, Muratua, and Kandy. I've spoken in those three places. I still have a good friend called Hasha Atrupana at the World Bank office there. Now, coming back to this topic here, first, pardon me, because I've been speaking too long. I really can't understand why, because we have Zoom sessions. Some days I speak through the Zoom session. So I ended up realizing that wearing coats and so on is not the way to go for me. So pardon me if I'm not as glossily dressed as my colleagues who are there, who are definitely far better dressed than I am, just having a shirt on. Now, I took this opportunity to talk about this topic. Perhaps someone can flip to the next page. Flip to the next page, please. Who's handling it? Because I'm, okay. The key points in the topic that I just put up there, which is one of my main areas of work now, is the critical convergence of open innovation framework with Industry 4.0 technologies, sustainable development practices, and the ecosystem essential to drive intranational and international economic and social synergies. It's important to make a point that two important things come out here from what I will present, and I would like to emphasize, one of which is, if you are going to extend sustainable development to mean bringing about equality, not just in the creation of knowledge, it's appropriation as well. And as an example, you can look at how COVID vaccines are being created and distributed, allocated. You will find that we've had problems, if not for the UN organizations getting into the scene. You may actually have had the problems that the WTO faced with regards to HIV vaccines, because if not for the contestation that South Africa raised, supported by Mexico, Brazil, and India, you may not have had generic drugs to help the poor, because they just couldn't still now can't afford designer drugs. That will be the situation. And what argument they took was simply that these guys are going to die anyway if you use market forces, market prices, and therefore they're not in the market. So allow them to have generic drugs. that's how they were able to keep alive the generic drug industry, without which I think it would have been impossible. The same argument holds for the COVID vaccines we have, except that I don't think we have that sort of reliable drugs yet. There are still conjectures that may not actually become real theories as such. I mean, propositions of real theories, simply because people are still falling ill after taking the vaccines. In fact, a very senior servant from Malaysia, Tun Ahmad Saji, he had his vaccines, both vaccines completed by March 2021. He just recently died. So we know that we are still in an evolutionary state that doesn't really tell us very much as to where we are heading. Nevertheless, at least that's the option we have, but we have to be careful. Now, I also felt it's in that sense that I felt the need to support not just the quadruple helix that we have evolving from Sweden, industry, government, university, and civil society, but also it being an open framework, so that in order to ensure that these property rights are not going to be monopolized by just big biopharma companies and so on, we'll need to have an alternative way of having public goods. Public goods are non-excludable and non-rivalrous. Knowledge is one of them. We cannot preclude from others. Once you create it, that's the same cost bound. Everybody else can keep consuming it. Knowledge is a public good. The environment is a public good. Security is a public good. Now, in that, how should we govern them? If you allow private companies to get involved in it, then you will have problems, because a massive amount of the population will not have access to them. And I hope the COVID pandemic is giving them that sort of direction, so that some alternative is created rather than an ad hoc manner with which these things happen, the way HIV was addressed. The second point I'd like to make here is the appropriation of technologies that are critical. How do you actually see, and I've done some papers on Sri Lanka when I had students from there. We dealt with the clothing and textile industry there, even though I would have preferred each time I went there, I carried back loads of tea, Dilma in particular, back to Malaysia. But my work really there was on textiles and clothing. The impression I get is just like Pakistan, or even Bangladesh, although it exports extensively because of its privileged access to LDC statutes. But even so, I think they haven't really upgraded to specialize on high value-added activities. So those are the two things I'm keen on addressing. What constitutes a dynamic industrial policy? Of course, it all depends on whether governments are there ready to implement that. Because you can tell them the entire range of things, because the expression, the cat can look at the king. We've seen how other countries have evolved. Yet you may not have governments who may not actually focus on these issues. And in Malaysia, we are really concerned about corruption now, as to how the more you enable the government, that would mean the more money that might actually get squandered. So those are issues out of control here, but I just wanted to make those 2 points. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, okay. Now this is something I've already mentioned, but I just, in the interest of time, say a few things about them. It is important to have a governance framework that is targeted at stimulating economic upgrading. It's not just about supporting firms with what basic infrastructure you have. Firms, for example, I'm finishing a book on Pakistan with a former student on textiles and garment. It's got probably the best cotton in the world. But yet they are engaged in exporting low value added cotton itself, yarn, and just fabric. Much of the exports revolve around that. The clothing they export, not much of them get to the US. These are big firms that have internalized activities because they have whole sorts of problems that include power shortages, that include the fact that they don't have effective internet connections. If you're a family firm, if you're a small firm, a large firm, yeah, they manage to internalize it, as well as create the gas that they produce using coal. About 15 firms are world-class, but you're having something like 1,000 over firms in Pakistan. These are issues you need to see, and how do you actually upgrade them with a roadmap? I don't have time to get that far into these things, because these are things I used to do for UNIDO and UNCTAD all over the world. I was supposed to do it for Sri Lanka too. Then there was this huge proliferation of Chinese activities there, and I don't know what happened with the UNIDO projects. Institutions, both formal and informal, formal include legislations and so on, including prizes that is tangible that you see, but also collaboration, which are informal. They blend together to influence how things evolve. And in guiding, in measuring innovations, it's important to differentiate incremental from radical. A lot of what happens that brings about, spills over into GDP are actually incremental, not really rocket science you take to create new stocks of knowledge. It's really adapting. Much of what happens is really adapting. Now, we cannot forget that part. The question is, how do you institutionalize and promote it on a national scale? That's an element also that requires adaptive learning. Each time we look at something, countries that succeeded are not copying them or not just reintroducing them. They are adapting all the time. A good book to look at that would be Lin Soo Kim, From Imitation to Innovation. Co-evolution of technology. In the process of looking at these things, you can see many other different types of technologies that can connect intersectorally as well as within firms or even specific products within an industry. Much of standard economics doesn't help you very much because we end up, if you use that, running econometric regressions by using either SITC codes or HS nomenclature codes or standard industrial classification codes. But you'll have a range of industries inside there. A microprocessor will be in the same category, the minutest category you think of. And at the same time, you'll see a printed circuit board item there. I mean, these are hugely different technologically. So it's important to understand these things as well. And strategies in firms differ from the time they're latecomers as well as when they're first movers. You can have strategies that, like how United Microelectronic Company deliberately just caught up with the frontier, but it's not in any way interested in leapfrogging. It just proliferates technologies that go into different industries with application-specific integrated circuits, or the approach taken by Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, which actually caught up and leapfrog. In a logic chips, they are the world #1 firm, but yet they don't have a brand model. Or the blue ocean strategy that often Kim and Merbon often talk about, integrating market, which doesn't necessarily be as costly as catching up and leapfrogging. I've already mentioned that corporate helix, but the governance of IPR systems, I just mentioned that where public goods are involved, public goods are both non-excludable and non-rivalrous, but public utilities are excludable. And at the same time, they are rivalrous, because if you are talking about increasing healthcare or increasing education because of schools, rather than knowledge, so to speak, you have to build more schools, you have to build more hospitals, you have to hire more doctors. That means they're excludable, yet they have a public content in it because they need to reach everyone. Governance become even more important here. That same thing applies to power, water, things like that. They're utilities, they're not goods as such in the way economics defines them. If you want to go further into it, I think William Baumol discusses that quite extensively in a way much better than Paul Samuelson. So it's important to actually look at it in different sort of ways. At the same time, cross flows of products and services that obfuscates public-private boundaries doesn't really help very much to say, well, this is a good that should only be handled by government regulations. Well, this one should be left entirely to markets, because that's an element that's also evolving, that those boundaries are becoming more and more blurred. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is a network that I tried to put up. It's already in the Oxford Handbook of Industrial Policy, which is important because at any one time, we are relying on imported stocks of knowledge, imported practices. Some of them come through manual, some of them are acquired through licensing, some of them acquired through firms that are bought over, acquired. But a lot of it is, all of them are targeted to evolving national capabilities, some of which are developed in-house, but a lot of it a combination of both. It's a question of how this is institutionalized. You create science parks because they help solve collective action problems that firms cannot necessarily internalize. Some large firms do, but most of the firms are either medium size or small size. So you need to have them connect with these knowledge nodes, and then these intermediary organizations play a creative role. In Malaysia, we say that they're all white elephants because we have lots of science parks, but they're not producing. They're not firing like the way, say, you have in Taiwan, Korea, or even Route 128 in the Silicon Valley. that I'll come to later on in terms of how governance can be done. Next slide, please. This is a systemic code I introduced, which I felt was necessary when I did the UNIDO report, because Michael Porter's cluster-based, the diamond framework, to me, wasn't explaining how underdeveloped structures evolve to become mature structures. So they accepted that. The report actually jointly done by Paul Collier, John Page, and myself. But that was the basis for studying 12 clusters across the world. Unfortunately, they didn't include Sri Lanka there, some countries in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Now, there are four pillars I put up there in terms of how this governance can take place. I think we go to the figure itself so that I save time that way. The figure itself. The next, yeah. This is, if you are looking at a bare underdeveloped structure, an area that have missing organizations, have missing supplier firms, missing buyer firms, the right sort of institutions are not there, right sort of legislations are not there. Or if you go to Kenya, one of the countries where I did study, huge poor infrastructure you have in order to get to firms. Taxis are reluctant to drive from the taxi centers to those firms because they have to go through huge amounts of muddy roads. And at that time, it was raining too. Now, so I ended up putting basic infrastructure because the governance is different from science, technology, and innovation infrastructure, which is essential if you are looking at eventually supporting firms to see that they upgrade to the technology frontier. It is important. Economic development is about growing your value added, which is wages and salaries plus your profits. Now, that can only happen if you are integrated in a global economy. You can outcompete the higher value-added competitors. You can't just be focusing all the time on processing and assembly. These are things that kept Malaysia low, and we haven't really moved very much, even though there are lots of efforts to solve that problem. But countries that manage that include Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore. These are countries, except for Singapore, Korea and Taiwan were poorer than Malaysia until something like 1979. If you go look through the series of GDP per capita, you'll find that. Now, I also found the need to connect with organizations. It's not just connectivity, but the pulse of interaction between them is key in terms of how knowledge, crossroads of knowledge is important, that help solve problems both sides. Organizations achieving their goals, firms achieving their goals, and organizations are there to support individuals and firms. And that's why I use the term network cohesion. It doesn't help to have all these organizations there, like our science parks in Malaysia. We have so many other programs, Multimedia Super Corridor, MTDC, MITE, all sorts of organizations we have, but they're poorly connected to the firms. That's important. And if they are connected, they are poorly regulated to see that they are moving from one level to another level in the technological capabilities. Next slide, please. Digital infrastructure and IR 4.0. I've been working on this quite extensively now. Let me just move on to these examples are there with you, to the figure itself, the subsequent slide. Yeah. Now, what I mean by public goods, at all times, if you are, I mean, this is something the German science minister put up to me. For them, for an engineer, if you invest money and you create knowledge from it, that's research. And if you convert back that knowledge into money, then that's what he calls innovation. Of course, some people call it commercialization, some call it development. But a lot of that are not patented, those. Quite a bit of it is patented. You have designs, layouts, industrial designs, industrial layouts, trademarks, trade secrets, and so on. The details of it, if you have questions, I can come back to that. A lot of this knowledge are there in the air, systemic. That's what I mean by non-excludable. That other firms can use it. If only you have a knowledge network that connects all these knowledge through a digital infrastructure by way of having broadband support and so on. And the connections and coordination as such, you enable participants in such a way, you actually enable their mental faculties to be able to see from all these different stocks of knowledge, a lot of which that are not patented, a lot of it, even patents, a lot of it don't hit the ground. Then you will find that the sum total of what this system can create is way, way more. And it's enabled a lot more when you have digitalization. In order to have your robots and drones, which are, I mean, I'm not sure if you've handle. I faced the humanoid robot when I visited Toyota headquarters. Incredible, the human, I mean, you can't get that sort of precision. You can't get that sort, because they have the entire range of knowledge in them, although they are programmed to do those things, but they can utilize that better than what individuals at any one time can do. And they feel like human. They can sense temperatures, they can sense humidity, all sorts of things at the same time. We are dealing with humanoid robots. Let's go to the last slide, please. I think I'm getting out of time. Please flag me because I, for some reason, didn't look at the starting time. Okay, these are the concluding points I'd like to make. Having explained the material potential expected from the co-evolution of IR 4.0 technologies and sustainability issues associated with striking a balance between technological upgrading and the provision of public goods and utilities, we offer inter-country policy direction and recommendations rather than just for Malaysia here to appropriate the social and economic synergies effectively. I'm working on a book called Digitalization and Development towards strengthening the IR 4.0 industry in Malaysia with Huawei funding, this Chinese telecommunication company. It deals with many of these issues. The role of intermediary organizations, the ecosystem to promote economic and social synergies, basic infrastructure, SDI infrastructure, international integration, and connections and coordination between them and firms. In fact, I've worked with firms in many places. You can bring IR to the small firm, but you don't expect the small firm to come to Kalania, Inisi, or Taylor's. This is what I showed to the Muhammad Ali Jinnah guys. They are too small to come there, but you can bring it to them. Potential and promotion of R&D inclusive of IR 4.0 technologies need emphasis on adaptive innovations to absorb the transformation essential to usher in the takeover by IR 4.0 technologies. The transition to a quadruple helix framework with the critical pillars of industry, university, government, and civil society, but with the need to absorb open innovation principles, a distinction that clearly requires the definition of public goods and the attempt to seek alternative funding so that those intellectual property rights are handled by public interests. As is seen now with a mad scramble by the big biopharma businesses and governments struggling to obtain COVID-19 vaccines, to vaccinate all members of society, it is pertinent that the UN, including the WHO, seek alternative funding to support public ownership of patents associated with essential goods and services, such as the COVID-19 vaccines. As public utilities must reach all members of society, attempts to exclude them from the poor should be discouraged. And the last point I make here, where R&D and innovations are involved, including patents and design, the promotion of public goods and utilities must emphasize an open system. And it must have, apart from collaboration, it must have a review all the time to see that the desired goals are met. It doesn't have, in Malaysia, for example, we brought the double cropping jasmine species from International Rice Research Institute from Manila. We adapted that and created double cropping. It was just technology transfer, rather than now we have all sorts of strengths that we have that haven't helped resolve food security in Malaysia. We have rice self-sufficiency of less than 70% here, but Taiwan's is already 93%. How did they manage that? I'd like to stop with that, but except to mention there must be a clear review to see desired goals are met so that all the subsidies, incentives, and grants that are given are not wasted, not dissipated. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Thank you, distinguished Professor Datuk Dr. Raja Rasya, for the insightful sharing on open innovation knowledge flows for co-creation of technologies. Now, we would like to invite our second keynote speaker. We are very pleased to have Dr. Siku Jabi, First Deputy Governor, Central Bank of the Gambia, here today to share with us. Dr. Siku A.K. Jabi has a long academic journey from his high school days at St. Augustine High School, where he did his General Certificate of Education Ordinary and Advanced levels in 1988 and 1990, respectively. Dr. Jabi worked briefly with KPMG external auditors in the 1990 and 1991 before pursuing his bachelor's degree in social sciences, economics and accounting at Fora Bay College, University of Sierra Leone from 1995 to 1995. As a young graduate, he worked briefly as an accountant and chief accountant at Gamson Construction and Catholic Relief services respectively before joining the Central Bank of the Gambia, CBG, in January 1997. He pursued postgraduate master's degree in development finance at the University of Manchester, UK in 2003-2004. Dr. Jabi rose through the ranks to Deputy Director, Microfinance Department, Central Bank of the Gambia in April 2009. In January 2011, he enrolled for Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, Development Finance at the University of Malaya, Malaysia's premier university, completing in March 2014. Dr. Jabi is a member of several professional bodies, including the Gambia's Writers Association, the Gambia Association of Accountants, editorial boards of many international journals, member of boards of directors of institutions and task force members at Central Bank of the Gambia and at national level, including chairman of GAMPO's Board of Directors, Financial Intelligence Unit, Chartered Institute of Banks Gambia, and Mega Bank. Dr. Jabi is currently First Deputy Governor, Central Bank of the Gambia since May 2017, responsible for the financial sector stability and policy and development. Part of his working life took him across the globe, presenting papers at conferences, courses, and study tours in Bank Rakyat Indonesia, Grameen Bank Bangladesh, Swiss Central Bank, Federal Reserve Bank USA Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, and Boulder, Colorado, and International Labour Organization Training Center in Turin, Italy. He has published over 20 journal articles in international reputable journals in finance, economics, technology, and development, and serves as journal reviewer for a number of international journals. Dr. Jabi has a pride of publishing 3 books, 2 in 2016 and 1 in 2018, all on financial inclusion, fintech development, financing, economics, innovation, and technologies, among others. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sekou Jabi.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Sekou, please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you so much, our able MC. I rely on the existing protocols, the BLM2-ICAM4, the conference organizers, Associate Professor Dr. Said, Professor Dr. Reduka, Executive Dean, and Professor Kong Wee, Dr. Fernando, and the students around, and the conference committee for organizing such a very good conference today. My topic today will be on fintech, and I must say before the paper, I am very grateful to be part of this gathering, and I must tell this gathering that my professor was there before me, Professor Raja Rasia. I was a student of him in 2014 at the University of Malaya. He was my able supervisor during my PhD program. I'm glad to see him back again. Thank you so much. Right, on fintech, as I said, fintech is everybody's business. No country has attained full financial inclusion level. So I believe it's good for everybody. On the roadmap for the presentation, that's the roadmap for presentation, introduction down to financial inclusion, why it matters, exclusion, financial stability as it impacts on financial stability, fintech challenges, fintech promise, conclusions. Next slide. Yes, financial technology, this has come to revolutionize the global financial markets, attracting attention from governments, multilateral institutions, such as the World Bank, IMF, other development partners. This was first developed in Kenya, in Africa, East Africa, through Safaricom. This was a telco that was also using financial technology to reach out to the remotest part of the country, the unbanked and the underbanked, in a more sustainable manner. It has positive impact on poverty, on jobs, on livelihoods, and the vast majority of households live in this informal sector, not by choice, but by necessity, having less access to productive resources. So fintech has come to salvage their conditions. In economic terms, they are also households and self-employed requiring broad range of financial services, not only credit, but savings, and able to manage their assets and smoothing consumption. This must be a global call from policymakers, development finance institutions, governments, multilateral institutions to bring finance to the doorsteps of the majority of this population. Next slide. The background that access to finance, financial inclusion, and financial development have been major policy objectives of countries and development partners. Over the decades, these initiatives have been aimed at increasing finance and inclusion. This has failed due to political hijacking, over-indebtedness, poor sector targeting. These are often not met, and huge losses. And at some points, this may also run into financial crisis. They've accelerated in the last decade as technology develops across the world. And as I said, this developing Kenya after it was replicated across the countries. World Bank Global Fintech shows 511 million adults require a bank account. And between 2010 and 2017, 1.2 billion have opened this account through either a bank account or through mobile money operators, MMOs. And in 2017, there is 1.7 billion at the age of 16 or older that are excluded from the main financial system, either having a bank account or opening a mobile account, constituting 31% of the world adult population. Next slide. Next slide again.
We have roosters in the background.
Yes, development, definition of terms, these are there. Financial inclusion, try to explain what financial inclusion is, having easy access to broad range of financial services that meet the customer's needs at an affordable cost. As I said, these are not only restricted to credits, but payment systems, savings deposits, insurance, remittances, pension funds. This must be done in a responsible and sustainable manner. Fintech also provision of technology and innovation that transform the financial service delivery to support development of new business models, applications, processes, and products. This, according to this AFI, Alliance for Financial Inclusion definition. AFI has its head office in Kuala Lumpur at, I think, Sanakija. I was there for the conference 2 years ago. Next slide. Yeah, these are strategies of achieving financial inclusion. Fintech is the key driver of financial inclusion, you see, because you don't have to have brick and mortar every corner. With your mobile phone, ATM card, you can access all broad range of financial services. This can be done through agent banking, through mobile banking or mobile payments, through linkage models. This can be linked through other financial intermediaries that are already at the local level, so you can always link up with them, or through client empowerment, through financial education literacy initiatives complemented by consumer protection programs and policies. Next slide. Again, key areas and targets. These are the key ingredients for fintech: access and quality of usage of financial services, enabling financial infrastructure. Infrastructure must be there. The IT infrastructure, the networking, the financial innovation, financial education literacy. This I mentioned earlier, and consumer protection and empowerment. These are key in fintech service delivery. Next slide. Why it matters, according to AFI, as I said, access to financial services is a grounding principle. This has been advanced by the cause of making finance as a human right, as well as Nobel laureate Mohamed Yunus, the former MD of Grameen Bank, used to say, access to finance is a human right. Everybody needs to have access to it. That's a saying that finance doesn't solve all the problems, but it solves many. So access to finance will be key in changing people's welfare and livelihoods. Today, financial inclusion is a significant international policy goal. And as an enabler of many of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Financial access is an enabler of the UN SDGs. So these are important issues around the world. In 2015, over 2 billion people, roughly 38% of all other population, do not have access to a bank account or a mobile account. However, as I said, 2017, this has dropped to 1.7, showing a substantial drop, indicating so much progress being made, but still there is room for improvement. Provision of these services in managing customers' financial inclusion, smoothing consumption patterns, and build future for their families, supporting broad range of growth, economic growth and development, and poverty reduction. This can all be attained by sustainable access to finance. AFI and GSM, World Bank, among others, have identified technology as a key driver, as I said earlier. And digital finance delivered through mobile phones and agent networks have dramatically reduced costs. The key item here also is that Fintech has come to reduce costs of financial services. You can do it in the middle of your bedroom. You can do it anywhere. You can pay your insurance premiums anywhere. Fintechs have entered into the market to grow the customer base, diversify and revenue streams, and boost brand loyalty. As a result of financially excluded groups, micro enterprises and women largely marginalized have gained access to digital financial service at a lower cost. Digital credit, this is a very interesting area. In Kenya, early morning, 6 a.m. every day, either Saturday or Sunday, every day, 7 days a week, have access to loans. Some of these loans are very low, say $500, $1,000. But these are hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of people. They get these daily loans, and at 10 p.m., 22 hours, they start repaying these loans so that they are qualified for the next day. So as they grow with the repeated lending, they improve their conditions and they are able to even tap high volumes with time, because these are daily loans that are supposed to be paid. Next slide. That's a framework for expanding financial access, leveraging financial technology to advance financial inclusion. And that's also need to be enabling regulatory environment, innovative regulatory approaches, consumer protection, privacy, and cybersecurity. These are key fundamental areas in leveraging fintech for financial inclusion advancement. Next slide. Why it matters again, they use technology innovation to add value to banks' existing models. Banks would have their existing models to operate, but fintech, when it comes, it added to those existing models to onboard an intensive use of distributive channels and networks. It also attracts clientele, particularly the millennials that place high value on accessibility, speed, and user-friendly. Equity of fintech companies have grown from $22 billion to $22 billion in 2016, increasing to $37.7 billion global investment in 2019, according to the World Bank, and identified 5 economic costs of digital finance, as I said earlier: service costs, replication costs, transportation costs, tracking, and verification costs. These are all significantly reduced with the advent of fintech. The big promise of fintech is to build cross-cutting allowed by digital technologies to significantly reduce financial frictions, and reach out to the customers real time. Banks in developed world are able to reduce costs to the tune of $3 billion to $11 billion annually by lowering processing costs in mortgages using fintech. Next slide. That is the top 10 business obstacles globally. And this is considered, particularly in developing world, this is considered access to finance being most prominent here, followed by high taxes, among others, really. But access to finance is considered here as the most business obstacle for many of the small and medium enterprises. Next slide. Financial exclusion, these are 5 distinguishing factors that affect financial inclusion, with globally 1.7 billion financially excluded. Either access exclusion due to geographical or risk management, conditional exclusion, price exclusion due to unaffordable financial services, high rates of interest and charges, marketing exclusion due to non-attractiveness of the conducting business with certain groups, self-exclusion due to fear of default, credit default, cultural and religious reasons, particularly if it comes to Sharia, if the financial institution is not being Sharia compliant, many of the people due to religious reasons may not be part of it, and others are ideological barriers. Some are very comfortable with the informal sector. They want to go with it, really, because some of the trust and confidence in some of the financial institutions. High account ownership is is high in income economies with 89% in 2016. Virtually all the unbanked adults live in developing world. About half of the unbanked live in 7 developing countries in Bangladesh, China, India, Mexico, Nigeria, Pakistan, according to the World Bank, forming about 56% of the World Bank adults. World Bank adults in unbanked adults in are women. 56% of the unbanked population globally are women, according to the World Bank. Yeah, next slide. That is the framework for what I just explained from the last slide. The financial exclusion, the voluntary and involuntary exclusion, and this I also explained on the right-hand side of the slide. Next slide. That is the financial inclusion across West Africa. You see my country, Gambia, Ghana, Togo. These are levels of financial inclusion, the formal sector, the informal sector, and the exclusion part of it. So you can see Nigeria has gone far in this, also with Ghana. And this is, Gambia is about 2019. From that time to now, a lot of efforts have been done in the fintech industry. So this must be gone up now. So by next year, we'll try to do another review to look at the status of it. Next slide. Financial inclusion across Africa. This is captured by the next other figure there. 31% in Gambia with financially included. 93% of adults have mobile phones. However, most of these mobile phones are not translating into having accounts with mobile phones. And we have a 70% by 2015 commitment to country's Maya declaration. There are 2 mobile money operators, AfriMoney, QMoney, and these are the figures that they have by December 2020. Accounts have increased rapidly in most countries, even in conflict areas of Haiti, Liberia, Mali, Myanmar. Others have registered some respectable inclusion rates. Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, Gabon, Nigeria, Tanzania, Zimbabwe have also recorded very high levels of inclusion rate. Next slide. That is the slide for across. I think this is global, where you have the high income levels. Certainly, the higher the income, the level of inclusion is positive. The level of tertiary education too. At tertiary, you have high level of inclusion. The secondary and the elementary you consider. By age-wise, it's also as a youthful age, 25 to 64, better included. The urban, rural, more urban areas are financially included than rural. And male, female, we have more of male, female. Female are lightly marginalized, restricted. Women and youth, particularly in the developing world, that they have less access to financial services, primarily because of their job workforce also. Really, globally, the level of education, employment, location, sex, income, and economic development patterns distinguish the level of financial inclusion as shown above. Next slide. Yeah, that is it. I mentioned about the income level and high income economies with the infrastructure level of infrastructure, economic development and others. You see them being highly included, almost 89%. East Asia and Pacific, Europe and Central Asia, Latin America, South Asia, Africa, and Middle East. These are levels according to World Bank, adapted from Demagogue, Gant, and Clapper. Next slide. Its impact of financial inclusion, as I said, fintech have impacts on, it's a key driver of financial inclusion. This positive impact on financial stability is that the greater diversification of bank assets, increasing the level of smaller enterprises could reduce the overall riskiness of the bank portfolio. So with the increased deposit base, this has less impact on financial stability. So it makes it positive. Even during crisis, in the Southeast Asian crisis, 1996-97, microfinance in Indonesia were able to resist the pressures of the crisis because the base was so broad. So individual depositor has less riskiness on the portfolio, large portfolio. Increasing number of savers too, both in loans and savings have less impact. So the bank is not relying on the non-core financing. Greater financial inclusion also contribute to better transmission of monetary policy. as the level of inclusion is high and is captured at formal level, this is going to help in policy decision making at the monetary level, at the monetary authorities level. So the higher the level of financial inclusion, the better for monetary policy management. And it reduces the concentration levels for both loans and deposits. In low-income groups, they are relatively immune to economic crisis, as I said earlier. Including them, the financial sector tend to raise the stability of deposits and loan portfolios. Next slide. Financial Access Frontier. This is mentioning about the Harvard population by the world will reach a number of 6.1 billion smartphones. This needs to be translated into mobile accounts. Mobile-based technologies present a huge opportunity to enhance financial inclusion of the 1.7 billion excluded. In Malaysia, we learned 92% of adults have a basic bank account. However, the financing of micro, small, and medium enterprises remain high. World Bank and Nigeria's Bank Nigeria seminar on Fintech and financial inclusion, I was there at that conference, agreed on the following resolutions: customer centricity, reduce operational risk, building new business models, partnerships, collaborations, building trust and consumer protection. Globally, 4 billion of mobile phone subscribers are recorded in 2019. This increased to 5.7 in 2018. Mobile penetration in the developed world has almost tripled in the last 5 years. But as I said, this has to be translated into increasing mobile money accounts. Next slide. The negative aspect of it is if the desire to increase lending leads to the compromise of the lending standards. This can be very dangerous. The subprime cases in the US and of the 2008 financial crisis. You want to lend, you want to reach out to as many people as possible with the risk of compromising your lending standards. This can be detrimental. The second part of it is commercial banks and other financial institutions, such as fintechs. There are also some other illegal fintechs could increase the reputational risk, particularly if they try to outsource the key functions of those financial institutions, like risk management. Risk management is considered very integral to the financing of operations of any financial entity that needs to be within than to outsource. Key disruptive impact of financial system is also due to poor regulation of financial institutions. This can also be dangerous, regulatory forbearance and all that. Disruptions of financial service delivery can have a huge impact on the terms of losses and socioeconomic impact. As I said, the Asian and global financial crisis due to regulatory forbearance, compromised lending standards. In many circumstances, financial innovation triggers widespread instability if not checked. Cybersecurity issues are also devastating implications of financial stability. If fintech has to go with a robust cybersecurity framework, with the lack of that could be detrimental to financial stability. Next slide. These are risks to fintech. Risks to fintech, enabling environment there. You have financial security, you have cyber security, as I mentioned, data protection and consumer protection. Next slide. The challenges are here: discrimination against traditionally underserved groups, the lack of interoperability. As many mobile operators could be available in the economy, there need to be this interoperability among them, so that there's no charges among them to boost the financial inclusion process. Financial integrity, anti-money laundering and terrorist financing compliance, insufficient customer due diligence, inability to accept funds when the system is down. Sometimes network system could be down and you are not able to transact. Loss of funds, inadequate product disclosures on ethical practices, aggressive marketing, over-indebtedness, aggressive loan collections, loss of confidentiality, vulnerability to pricing schemes, insufficient agent liquidity and agent fraud are prevalent, failure to effectively regulate and supervise rapidly evolving digital finance landscape. Fintech is open to excessive risk of cyber security issues. Adequate measures must be put in place prior to takeoff of digital finance operations. Next slide. That's the transformational solution of Fintech. It's available there for you to look at. Next slide. Fintech promise. Digital finance has emerged as an important driver of innovation, competitiveness, and growth in financial system. By leveraging the growth of mobile technologies, digitalization can reduce costs, as I said, increase efficiency, and allow financial service providers to reach the new clients. Fintech is not only for financial service alone, but it can be used for health, for education, security, agriculture, these commodity markets. Also, I'm also building a database that could be used for policy decisions. By developing an inclusive and sustainable digital finance ecosystem through substantial investment, skilled human resource, adequate infrastructure, agile processes, and conducive regulated environment, it can foster more widespread adoption and usage, thereby boosting financial inclusion and benefits accrued. Next slide. To conclude, fintech no doubt remains very crucial in boosting financial inclusion around the globe, not only financial access, as I said earlier, despite its risk of being abused, increased clients' indebtedness, exploitation, and risks of financial crisis. Fintech has been successful in many jurisdictions in increasing savings, access to payment systems, digital credit, remittances, microinsurance, impacting positively on economic growth and development. As the director of G24 Secretariat, Marilu Uli highlighted, the key issue at hand is how to realize the potential of fintech promise for financial inclusion while finding its right balance between creating a supportive space for inclusion and maintaining a robust and appropriate regulatory framework to safeguard financial stability and protect consumers. Fintech, financial technology, is not only a magic stick that will financially include everyone overnight or make poverty disappear. Rather, it is a tool which, combined with other economic development social tools, can effectively contribute in broader financial access, adequate capital, sound governance, and digitalized financial infrastructure required. Like any other tool, fintech can have very bad consequences if poorly managed. Thank you so much. That's the end of my presentation. That's the referencing. I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Seiko Javi, for your sharing with us on Global Fintech Enterprise Finance Promise, Opportunities and Challenges. Now, we would like to share the Silver Award for the offline presentations. Please visit our website, siriconference.com, to find out if you're the winner. But fret not, if you're not the Silver Award winner, you might be the lucky winner for the Gold Awards and Special Awards. So, as shown on screen, we have two more special awards, which are the Gold Award and Special Awards. So stay tuned to find out if you are the winners of these awards. So stay tuned till the end of the conference with us. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we end the keynote session of the conference. Kindly take note of the following. The parallel sessions will begin at 3 p.m. Please check the conference website to join the parallel sessions by clicking on the Zoom links, or you may scan the QR code to access the sessions. Thank you, and see you all later again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have now come to the long-awaited session, which is the Best Presentation Awards. Here are the Gold Awards offline presentations on screen. Please visit our website, siriconference.com, to find out if you're the winner. Congrats to all winners. Now, we would like to thank all online presenters for your presentations during the parallel sessions. It was really informative and insightful. So, as you can see on screen, please visit our conference website at siriconference.com to find out if you're the winner for the online presentation awards for Gold, Silver, and Bronze Award. If you're not a winner of the Bronze Award, Silver Award, or Gold Award, don't worry, as you might be the lucky winner for our 15 special awards. So congratulations to all winners. Now, the time has come for us to present the 15 special awards. I would like to invite Puan Rosita Ahmad, Regional Marketing Manager from Emerald Publishing East Asia, to announce the first award and say a few words. Welcome, Puan Rosita Ahmad.
Hello, thank you everyone. I'm Rosita, the Regional Marketing Manager for Emerald Publishing. We have gone through all the papers that have been submitted, and the winners have been selected based on the results of reviews and the scope of the award. Now I have the pleasure to announce the winners of the Emerald Provocative Research Award. There are a total of 3 winners, and they are Nur Zulaika binti Muhammad Azian from University Malaysia Sarawak, Malaysia. Next is Kalpana Ambepitya from General Sir John Kotilawala Defence University, Sri Lanka. And finally, Muhammad Zuhairi Zainuddin from Multimedia University, Malaysia. Congratulations to all the winners.
Congratulations. Thank you, Puan Rosita Ahmad, and congratulations to all award winners. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Navas, Associate Editor of Asia Pacific Journal of Business Administration, Emerald Publishing, and Coordinator of our Center for Industrial Revolution and Innovation series, to announce the second and third award and say a few words. Dr. Navas is also our sound engineer for today's conference, and she's my partner in crime who ensured that all the slides and sound are played on time. So Dr. Navas, don't forget, I know you're excited to read out the name of the winners, but don't forget to change the slide and also give the applause. The floor is yours, Dr. Navas.
Let me give a round of applause to both of us. Thank you. When I was nominated by the conference team to hand over the special award, I was relatively anxious because it was the first time for me to speak in the most exciting part of a wonderful big event like BLM2-ICAM4. Then immediately I Googled how to write a script to hand over an award, and the Google offered me 9 million records. So one by one, I was going through the links to search for some tips. But finally, I realized that I'm more comfortable to be myself and just sharing some behind the scenes of these awards. So once when the first time when we put up the call for papers for BLM2-ICAM4, we could never imagine that we would be overwhelmed with a huge number of submissions. Then during the review process, we were astonished by the wonderful scholarly work that we received. To inspire the spirit of research in the academic community and among the emerging researchers, the editorial team of Asia Pacific Journal of Business Administration decided to design a special award only for this conference, BLM2-ICAM4, and a special thanks to Emerald Publishing Group and especially Mr. William and Ms. Rosita G, who have been beyond the support to the Asia Pacific Journal initiatives. In line with APJBA mission in promoting excellence in research, APJBA Awards of Excellence is deemed to be granted to 3 submissions. It was a tough decision to select among the impactful submissions we received from various corners of the world. At this moment, I'm pleased to announce the first recipient of APJBA Awards of Excellence, who is Anik Inam and the team, University Putra, Malaysia. The second APJB Awards of Excellence goes to Y Yin, Segi University, Malaysia, and the team. And the last lucky winner of APJB Award is Van Den Ling and the team, Taylor's University, Malaysia. Let's give a round of applause to all the winners. Let me move on to the next award. I believe that many of you have already befriended Siri. If you do not know yet what Siri is, let me make your life substantially better by introducing Siri to you. It is Siri, it's not Chiri, it's not Kiri. Since it's our baby, please pronounce our baby correctly. It's Siri. It stands for Center for Industrial Revolution and Innovation, which is a research center at Taylor's University, Malaysia, extending its support to research, teaching, and service to both academics and business communities. As part of our mission to promote the spirit of contributing to the community, we offer high-quality certified online courses and webinars for free on our platform. Emerald Publishing Group, again, is a partner in this initiative with us, and therefore all our online courses are endorsed by Emerald. You are more than welcome to take our available online courses, and we would like to invite you to contribute to this initiative as an instructor. The fourth Industrial Revolution and Innovation Research Award is designed in line with the Siri mission, which is integrating technology into business and management through collaborative interdisciplinary research. On behalf of Siri family, I'm pleased to announce the first winner, who is Sarthak Sengupta, Indian Institute Information Technology, India, and the team. Just a moment, I checked the last one because I just received the info.
You're so nervous.
Actually, because the information is just updated, so I'm
it's very up to date.
The presentation, the online presentation is just completed, so that's why I'm updating the list. Okay, and the next, no, it's not coming. And the next award is going to Stephen Pinto, again from India. So let us give us the round of applause to all the winners. Thank you, Kelly. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Navas. And also congratulations to all award winners. Lastly, I would like to invite Dr. Sudhir Rana, co-editor of the International Journal of Emerging Markets, Emerald Publishing, and editor of FIB Business Review, Sage Publications, to announce the fourth and fifth the winners and say a few words.
Hi, thanks, Kelly. I'm thankful to Professor Said Pelwan Sharif, his team, Taylor's University, to offering such wonderful platform to scholars where they interact with other academicians and editors, not only to showcase their work, but also to to explore the possibilities of future collaborations and continued journey on this path. So I congratulate you and I thanks to the entire team for the collaboration and giving us a chance to be here. Okay, so let me tell you something about International Journal of Emerging Markets. We are we focus on emerging market as market specifically, and we are a Scopus Q2 journal with the SSCI impact factor of 2.5, and we are climbing on the ladder. Thanks for your collaboration and support. So the paper that got award, like I do not guarantee the publication, but yes, I can guarantee is the fast review. But yes, you got this award. It means that your paper have a potential. This is what I can say at this very moment, and I congratulate you. So the first award goes to sorry, I think I lost it. Yes. Althea Caramel from Mindanao State University in Philippines. Congratulations to you and your entire team. And the second winner is Pavel from University of the West of England, UK. Congratulations. We have also the third one. And the third one is Priyanka from Taylor's University, Malaysia. Wow, it's your own. Great. So a proud moment. I congratulate to all the award winners, and you can reach out to myself or any other editor of IJOEM. And if you'll reach out to me because I'm associated with the conference, we'll be happy to expedite the review process for the submitted papers. Now let's come to the second one. I'll give you a background about FIB Business Review. FIB Business Review is comparatively a young journal. It's a multidisciplinary journal. It's in the 10th year of its birth, and it's also indexed with Scopus, Clarivate, Web of Science, Emerging Source Citation Index, also in ABS. So it's a growing journal, and this is one of the most read journal by SAGE South Asia. And not only that, the highest submissions this journal gets. So it's moving really fast, and I congratulate to the authors of having award from FIB Business Review, and same process we can follow. Like you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to any of the conference coordinator, and they can forward me the paper. I can try to expedite the review process, and then further we can see. So first award is to Bandeta from University of Salerno, Italy. Congratulations to all the co-authors of the paper. And the second one is Marlon, again from the Taylor's University. A good job done. This shows that the research ecosystem at the university is on the priority, and I'm glad to see it. Now, the final award from FIB Business Review is to great AWJC Abhayuna Sekra from University of Colombo. Many congratulations to all the award winners. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to any of the coordinator, you can reach out to my editorial office for further progression of your papers. And yes, your certificates will be given in due course to the conference committee to post you. And once again, many congratulations to Siri and Taylor's University, Professor Dr. Saeed Pelwan Sharif and the entire team. Glad to be a part of the conference and the research initiatives at the university. My best wishes.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sudirana. Thank you so much for your kind words. And congratulations to all award winners. Congratulations again to all award winners. All right. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the finale of the conference. On behalf of the BLM2-ICAM4 Organizing Committee, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Renuka Herat, ICAM4 Conference Chair from University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, to close the BLM2-ICAM conference officially. Professor Renuka Herat, welcome.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you. So distinguished guests and the participants and the presenters of BLM2-ICAM4. So that's the end of a fruitful conference. So we are now officially marking the end of the BLM2-ICAM4 with many presenters from various countries, online and offline mode. So we, as the Department of Marketing, University of Kelaniya, was lucky enough to collaborate with Taylor's University Malaysia and also with the Emerald Publishing Group, so which made this conference a huge success. And also we have more than 35 associate partners from all over the world. So proving that the collaboration brings mutual benefits. We received around 1,000 papers, 1,000 abstracts, and then so it was actually because of the right collaborations we had. So thank you so much again, the Emerald Publishing Group, for all the sponsoring all those awards and coming on board with us. That actually added much more glamour to the conference. And also Siri, I think Dr. Nawaz, I pronounced it correctly, right? Your baby's name, okay, right? So yes, it was again a very wonderful collaboration. Thank you so much. So I must thank all our collaborators to bring this conference a huge success today. Without your collaboration, actually, this wouldn't have been a very remarkable success like this. So thank you so much for all the collaborators of BLM2-ICAM4 today. And also the insightful keynote speeches made today. So a special thanks therefore goes to our keynote speakers, Dr. Siku Jabi. We heard like it was actually very early morning for him, right? Yeah, but still, you know, like he was very enthusiastic and delivering the keynote speech. And also the distinguished professor, Dr. Dr. Raja Rasia. Definitely those keynote speeches made enriched the wisdom of the listeners and also made the conference very colorful. I should not also forget our Vice Chancellor, University of Kelaniya, Senior Professor Nantita Silva, and also the Dean of our Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kelaniya, for the continuous support and the encouragement given from the beginning of the conference. And also the abstract book of the conference is yet to be finalized. Actually, that was sponsored. Now we have few copies printing. We are planning to print few copies. So the expenses of the printing cost of the abstract book was generously supported, sponsored by the Research Council of the University of Kelaniya. So therefore, special thanks goes to the chairman of the Research Council, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, Professor Kapila Seneviratne too, for assisting that. And one might think actually organizing an online conference is very easy, right? So I would say, I don't think none of our members in our teams, either Taylor's University or Sri Lanka team, would endorse this statement. However, we were actually agile enough, through all these online platforms for us to make sure that we didn't run into any problems. So we have come to the end of the conference. So thank you so much for the Taylor's University, led by Dr. Said, the chair of the conference BLM2, and also Dr. Akila. You all did a wonderful job, Dr. Nawaz, Kelly, every one of you. You all did a wonderful job to make this conference a success. And also our team from Kalania, including Professor Disanayake and Mr. Soumya Bandara. Professor Disanayake was instrumental in establishing this collaboration with University of Taylor's University, Malaysia. And we hope to take this forward, as he already mentioned in his speech in the opening ceremony. Maybe the next conference will be BLM2, BLM3 and ICAM4, probably. So, but finally, but most importantly, I want to thank all the presenters, authors who made our conference a meaningful one. And so we are looking forward to your valuable collaborations, valuable contributions to our future conferences too. And also, congratulations for all the winners. There were many awards. Hope you have already gone to our website and check whether you have got any bronze, silver, and also gold medals, right? You may have already collected your certificates too. So congratulations for all the winners, and also everyone else. Well done for all of you too. So, don't forget to submit your full paper, right? Now only you're starting your actual work actually after the conference. So don't forget to submit your full paper, and visit the official conference website for the conference proceedings too. So thank you so much, everyone. We are looking forward to work with you in the future too, in our future conferences, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Renuka Herat, for closing the event. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the BLM2-ICAM4 Organizing Committee, I would like to thank all our distinguished speakers and guests for their participation in this conference. It truly has been an inspiring and thought-provoking occasion. We have heard from amazing speakers with fantastic ideas. I hope that this conference will bring forth an amazing friendship with future collaborations in line with our theme that is broadening the horizons of business, going beyond normal. So as you can see on screen, please visit the conference website to download your certificate of presentation and also award certificate. You may also access the conference proceedings and parallel sessions from the website, which will be made available soon. And do follow the Siri YouTube channel, like all of you are watching from there, to view the conference and parallel sessions which took place today. And as you can see on screen, so this is our conference website, and yeah, you can see everything is listed there, the YouTube links, and then also how you download your awards, everything and then also your offline presentation certificate, right? And then also download certificate of presentation, then awards and everything, it's all there. So you may access the site. So that ends our conference today. So it has been my great pleasure to serve as your Master of Ceremonies. Thank you for your kindness and attention. Stay strong, stay safe, and have a good weekend ahead. Thank you and goodbye.